What is going on YouTube? Hope you guys are all having a great day so far. So today we're here to talk about the Montreal Canadiens, and we're going to talk about a weird subject because it's been going around since the last couple of days, since the game between the Canadiens and the Boston Bruins. I've seen multiple videos talking about this on YouTube, on TikTok. I've seen some articles on Facebook, Instagram, some posts on Instagram, all of that, and I don't agree. I do not agree. Maybe it's because I'm a simp of Nick Suzuki. That's certainly possible. I have two jerseys of Nick Suzuki in the background over there, so I'm certainly a bit biased, but there's a lot of people that have been arguing that Kirby Dach might be better than Nick Suzuki right now as a player. And I do not agree at all. Yes, Kirby Dach is having a heck of a phase. Yes, Kirby Dach is developing amazingly. Yes, Kirby Dach has point per game potential in the prime of his career. Yes, that's 110% certain. But to say that Kirby Dach is already better than Nick Suzuki, and to say that Kirby Dach will become better than Nick Suzuki, is wrong in my opinion. Not because it won't be. It certainly is possible that Kirby Dach will ending up becoming a better player than Nick Suzuki long term. As of right now, he's not. And personally, I still do think that Nick Suzuki will have the better career in both, in those two players. So when you look at statistics right now, Nick Suzuki in 48 games has 38 points. A lot of those points were coming from the start of the season. At some point, he was about above a point per game. He's starting to producing a bit more recently. He's getting back surely but slowly to his former self from the start of the season. Kirby Dach, him, has 31 points in 48 games. So they're just 7 points. He's just 7 points away from Nick Suzuki. So people are starting to say, oh, Kirby Dach might finish the season with more points than Nick Suzuki. That certainly is possible because we don't know the health situation of the two players. They both are injured, that's for sure. At this point of the season in the National Hockey League, if you were not injured or if you did not miss any games for injury, you're 100% having a little issue somewhere. Nick Suzuki 100% has a little something at least that's not working properly on his body. Same thing for Kirby Dach. We know that Kirby Dach has a foot injury. Some people suspecting Nick Suzuki to have a hand injury. That's why he's shooting less pucks to the net. Sometimes he's making that extra pass. He's not cutting as much in the front of the net as he was doing at the start of the season. So yeah, he changed his play style drastically. So it probably shows that he has an injury. At the start of the season, he was taking a lot more shots. He only has 1 goal in his last 10 games. So definitely not ideal, but apparently he has an injury, and that's why he's shooting less pucks, cutting less in front of the net. He's just trying to make passes for his teammate to shoot instead of him. So might explain why he hasn't been getting as much goal, as much point, but he still has a decent season. He's going to have a better season than last year if he continues on that track. He's going to get almost a 70 if he continues on that pace. So that's really, really good for a 23-year-old center playing on one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. So there's nothing to panic about Nick Suzuki not producing as much. He's going to get at the point per game pace at some point in his career when the Canadiens are going to be more competitive. Kirby Dach, him, is having a best phase to his play. His performances are going like this. He's starting to play a bit more with his abilities. He's using his body a lot more. He's using what he has as tools instead of just trying to do some things he can't do. And that's one of the biggest adaptations to making the National Hockey League. Leon Draisaitl did the same thing. He had to adapt. When you're not as fast as the others, you need to use other tools to perform, and that's exactly what Kirby Dach has been doing recently, and that's why he's performing a lot better. In the last 20 games, both players have 14 points. In the last 25 games, I'm sorry. In the last 25 games, both players have 14 points. Nick Suzuki has 1 goal, and Kirby Dach has 6 goals. So, yes, Kirby Dach has been scoring a lot more than Nick Suzuki. He has 2 goals in the last game, but they both have the same amount of points. And Kirby Dach is in a good phase, and Nick Suzuki is in a bad phase. So, Nick Suzuki's bad phase is as good as Kirby Dach's good phase. So, no, Kirby Dach for me is still not better than Nick Suzuki. Yes, he's been playing overall a more noticeable type of hockey, but Kirby Dach is playing on the second line, playing against second lines, third lines even sometimes. Nick Suzuki is playing against the best player from every team every night, and he's playing against those guys with players that are not as good as the start of the season. At the start of the season, he was playing with Dach and Caulfield, and it was going a lot better. Right now, he's playing with Josh Anderson and who was it again? Rem Pitlick. Not as good as player. Certainly not as good as Cole Caulfield, that's for sure. Even though Nick Suzuki's been looking amazing with those 2 guys, don't get me wrong. But playing against Patrice Bergeron the other night, the Pasternak line, playing against Matthews the other night, it's just normal that he's less noticeable because he's playing against superstars night after night, shift after shift. And one of the points of the people who were saying that Dach was better than Suzuki was the plus minus. Nick Suzuki is -11 and Kirby Dach is -5. It's normal. Nick Suzuki plays on the PK. Nick Suzuki plays at the end of the game when the team has an empty netter, when the team needs to shut down players. Nick Suzuki plays everywhere. Power play, PK, 5-on-5, 4-on-4, 3-on-3, 4-on-3. Nick Suzuki is everywhere playing against the best player from the opposition every night. So playing on a team like the Montreal Canadiens, it's just normal that he's going to be lowest in the plus minus. He's still young. He still has a lot of things to learn. He's 23 years old. Yes, Kirby Dach is a year younger, but personally, I still think that Nick Suzuki is the best player and has the better potential. Y'all are just a bit overreacting because you were expecting him to get 100 points, 35 goals at the start of the season on the pace he was in. It's not going to happen because the situation changed. Nick Suzuki looks like he's uncomfortable with something on his body. He doesn't have the same line mates. The Canadiens are not in the same situation as they were at the start of the season. He does not have the same line mates because the Canadiens are getting attacked by injuries. So yeah, no, don't attack Nick Suzuki for his performances. He's still the best player on this team, and he's still the captain. He's still going to be the leader, the star for the future of the Habs. He's still better than Kirby Dach. I'm not saying that he's going to be forever. Kirby Dach might be better in his prime. We don't know. But personally, don't give up on Nick Suzuki that quickly, because it's the first time in his career in Montreal that he's having a rough phase. We don't know what's going on in his life. We don't know what's going on with his body. And for his game to have changed drastically like that, it tells me that he might have an injury. So yeah, let me know what you guys all think about this in the comments below. Stop overreacting. Kirby Dach is progressing well. We need to be happy about this, but that's not a reason to put Nick Suzuki down. Every time a player starts to perform well, we always have to drop another player, hit on his head, and that's not how it should be. A player's performing well, it's good for him, and the other players that are not performing as good or that are struggling have a reason for that, and just cheer them up. Be positive, and yeah, that's it. Just drag them up, man. Stop being negative. By being negative like that, players have social media. You're not helping them at all. So yeah, let me know what you guys all think about this. Do you agree with me? Do you don't? Give me your opinion in the comments below. It's big about Tropical Habs. Subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, share, and I'll see y'all later tonight for a Habs review. I think the Habs are going to break the curse tonight. They're going to break the reverse retro curse. I think that they're going to win 4-2 against the Detroit Red Wings. They're going to surprise the Red Wings. So that's my prediction. I'll see you later tonight. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.